But you know that you can look at it all like that.
Jesus! 3.5 hours a day.
Whoa, I thought we were sharing. And the amount of narcissists I've worked with over the years,
Yes.
it's like, it's scary to know that you're the one that's got you there. And it's so much easier, I guess, to look at circumstances along the ways or things that people have done wrong by you rather than actually taking that accountability.
Welcome.
Thank
Abby.
you.
I'm so excited because this feels a little bit crazy because I listened to you in my car. Some of my cars that are not so loud. And now to have you in my little podcast studio in my home. Thank you for coming.
That's really sweet. But I heard you say that you like flip around to other stations. So I know that like that you've said that. So is it majority us?
B105 is the only station I listen to.
Sure, I'm going to check the presets in a minute.
Oh,
no, I appreciate it.
Second, this show is finished, go.
No, do you know you've actually emailed me that before? So I was asking about a question about a house that you were selling.
Yes.
And I'd emailed all this stuff because you've come into my life in so many different ways, but never officially met you. And I do hate going on podcasts because I prefer asking the questions.
Yes, I'm the boss here.
I know, I hate that. So I was emailing you and you'd sent me all these details and at the back of it you were like, I really like the show.
Yeah. You know what, the funny thing is, I came to Australia when I was 16 years old, and I'm kind of, I always, if I watch news, I always watch one channel since I came to Australia, and if I listen to radio, it literally has been B105. I'm not saying this because you're here, because I'm just so used to it.
Yeah.
I'm just so used to it, and so in all my cars you will see there's literally B105, and all the TVs around the house. There's only one channel that I watch news on. I don't know if it's the habit.
Well, I think it is. It's like when you sit at a dining room table, it's like a family one, you go and sit at the same seat. In fact, even for our work meetings, we sit at the same seat. And when anyone else comes in, you can see everyone stand there like, someone just say on the friggin' seat.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Even in my own home, I always sit in the same seat.
Of course you do.
Always.
Yeah, it's your same perspective. Like sometimes if I just want to mess with any of the guys at work, I'll sit in their seat and you can just see them come in for a minute and just a beat. And I was like, nah, I'm kidding.
And I'm so like that. And it's, it's in your head. You think to yourself, you know what? I feel like I'm not me if I don't sit on this specific spot. If I sit there, like, how am I going to, act. So now I got a question for you is you wake up really early every day. What time do you normally wake up?
Well, I'm getting later and later the more I've done this job.
Really?
Yeah, because I think my lifestyle has changed. So when I first started, I started this job when I was 7 or 8 months pregnant, which is a little bit unheard of. And I remember everyone going, what are you going to do when you have a baby? And it was like no maternity leave. It was always like, if you have any time off, someone's going to replace you. So you just never had any time off. So I had 2 weeks off with my firstborn, C-section, everything. So I was so
but you're coming out on this day and I'm back to work the next.
Yeah. I regret it now. If I'd had my way again, I would have just said no. But it was what it was. But I went back to work very early. And then after him, I was kind of like the only time that I had free to do fitness was in the mornings.
Yes.
So I decided, it wasn't safe for me to go running in the mornings by myself. Yes. So I used to make my workmates go running as well.
Right.
Because I'd be like, you don't want me to go by myself. So I used to make we used to set our alarm and we used to meet at 2:45 in the morning.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's crazy. I don't know what I was thinking about.
I would block you.
Yeah. We used to be running along the Story Bridge and you used to see people walking home from clubs and they'd literally look at their phone like drunk going, what? And we're like, no, you're not too late. Trust us. We're the idiots here. But no, I don't do that anymore. So normally my alarm will go off at 3:45.
Okay. And what time do you actually rock up in the office?
I normally rock up in the office probably around about 4:45, 10 to 5.
Because you guys start so early.
We do. We have an early morning meeting. A lot of it's probably just me chatting excessively because I like to get the vibe.
Yes.
I find that that's probably more important than the content.
The thing is with you, like I can, if I'm tired, I normally, my energy is always crazy, but I can still get away being tired and sleepy, but you can't afford that because you have to be on your toes the second you're on air.
Yeah, I feel like, so I used to like dance at nightclubs and used to be such a party girl. And I never forget my mum saying, this is not going to amount to anything, Abby. And I'm like, bullshit, look at me now. I can still perform when I'm tired, because I used to go straight from the club, straight to work, and that sleep deprivation just never got to me. Just never did.
Which is interesting. Now, over the years, we have Giselle, my wife and I, we employ a lot of people, and some of the young ones, they would take sick day. You know? And happens always Monday, right? They would take sick days on Monday. Oh, I'm not feeling well. I was like, I know you're not feeling well because you've been posting on your Instagram 3:30 in the morning.
Yes.
I was like, hide a little bit because I follow you,
They can't get away with anything. No. And back when you were doing it.
Bragging it.
Yes, but I bet that back when you were doing it, you still rocked up to work, right?
I did.
And that's the whole thing. I think that I'm like, no, the expectations is if you play up, you show up. Like, that's it.
Because with yourself, when you're on air, you have to, and especially if you're having conversation with people, right? I mean, I remember doing one podcast, I think early last year, and I was really tired.
Yeah.
I was jet lagged. I came from Europe, and I was having a conversation with somebody, and they asked me what was the question. I was like, "Fuck, I can't remember what I asked you for," because I wasn't focused myself.
Yeah.
And but with me, I can ask questions again or whatever. But when you're live on air, you kind of
I think everyone comes with different energies on different days.
Yes. I feel like you got energy for 10 people.
That's why I remember one of the producers said to me that you changed the dynamics of the energy, and I was like, oh, geez. And I said, is that always a good way? And he goes, not always. I'm like, oh, shit.
And I think you're the sort of person that feeds off energy.
Totally. Well, my biggest thing that I would like to pass on to my kids, and one thing that I'm really obsessed about, is, I guess, emotional intelligence. And I think it's the ability to read one other person's emotion or read the room and also read your emotions. I think this day and age, we're so not checking in with how we feel.
Yes, I agree.
And when I went to drama school when I was, I think I was 18. I probably needed to go to rehab or therapy, but instead I went to drama school because it was cheaper. And I remember there was this drama teacher that we had, and at every given time she used to start all classes with, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? And I used to think that's such a weird concept, right? How am I feeling?
Yes.
And you had to name it. But I think it's actually true. So often we don't check in with how am I feeling about interaction. So let's just say you say something that's really quite mean to me. So supposedly, right?
Your hair.
Yeah, my hair is messy. My hair is shit, right? Now,
you really need a new hairdresser.
Okay, all right, fuck off. No. But this is a point where, at that point, I can just smile and say,
Yes.
And I can walk away. And then at 1 a.m, I could start pondering on what you said to me and how rude that was, and I can hold it. And that's what I think a lot of people do. But for me, honestly, I'll go, what do you mean it's messy? That's a bit rude. And I'll say it there and then. Like, I'll name it straight away. And therefore, I've let it go, and I really do. And I think
I am the sort of person, if I don't like you, I tell you that to your face. Not just that, whatever it is, because I feel like if I hold it within, I feel like it's slowly killing me, squishing me, eating me alive, and will wake me up 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll think about it. So with me, with anything, I always say, so good to talk about it, discuss it, say what's on your mind, because holding back, again, but that is life, right? The thing that is holding people heavily to do anything is that fear. What if I fail? Or what if I say something? You know what I mean? Well, what if you don't? How will that affect you? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's just emotion. So once you let it out, then I feel like it's gone. Yes. And I know that a lot of people go, oh, she's so emotional, or she's over the top. And I'll go, well, no, because I express it. Where therefore you hold it in, you think you're less emotional. We still feel it. I just think some people are better at pushing it down. And, everyone these days everyone's got anxiety, and I think some people legitimately do. But some people just need to realise, how do I feel about my situation? It's a shit situation. I'm not in the job I want to be in. I'm not in the relationship I want to be in. And what are you going to do about it? But I think we get this no, I've just got anxiety or I've got depression, where it's okay to stay, I'm not in the place that I want to be. Yes. But then that gives you control to then be able to change it.
But at the same time, us as humans, we can also make a big difference in somebody else's life by saying something positive or good to them, right?
Yes.
And I always say, I know split second in life has changed my life. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when people are in a dark place, they can't see anything past it.
And they're not likely to reach out.
and they're not likely to reach out. So you saying that, reading the play and reading people, well, I think also a lot of us sometimes are holding back from saying, you know what, Abby, I know you're not okay, but do something stupid, make them laugh, take them out for coffee or whatever, So I think all of us can do our part or changing somebody else's life for better.
Well, I think that's empathy, isn't it? Do you know, I wonder if some people have it or some people don't.
I used to think when I was younger that everyone is a good person. I wanted to think that.
What changed? You don't think that now?
Maybe because I'm an old school Catholic person, that goes to church, and I used to, but now I've realized some people are just fucking assholes.
They really are. But but I take a step back and I love working out, when did they become an asshole? I get fascinated by that. Was it?
Yeah, but some people are that big assholes. Like, buddy, you were just born with a gift.
Good.
You were just born with a gift.
You're an OG asshole.
OG, But you know what? End of the day, and I also think, I used to think to myself, you know what? Maybe one day people will change and people will get better, or maybe they'll have some conscious, because some people, like, both of us do wrong thing in our life, but I don't mean to. I might make mistakes, but I don't mean to. You know what I mean? Like, if I go 75 on 60 in my car, I didn't plan to. I wasn't maybe thinking or whatever. But I think that some people do wrong thing by others. They know they're doing the wrong thing and they're okay with it.
Yeah, but I like psychoanalyze it like you wouldn't believe.
I analyze
so
it
then
too.
I look at it and I go, oh my God, they're not getting enough attention, and they want to get that reaction out of someone. Well, I guess that's why I like doing radio. I'm fascinated by people's story, because you're 100% right. People are assholes, and some people are genuinely like that. And the amount of narcissists I've worked with over the years, it's like...
And you interview a lot of different people. You speak to a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities, characters. What do you think is missing with humans these days? I'll tell you what I think before you give me an answer.
Right.
Common sense.
Yes. Yeah.
And do you think people have changed from 20 years ago in general?
Yeah, I do. I feel like at this point we're so connected in other ways that we've actually become more insular and more. In the sense that people are so concerned about them and only them, even though we are so-called connecting on social media or in different ways all around the world.
Yes.
So I wonder if we become a little less community-minded.
Yes.
Do you know? And that's what I feel like we probably have changed in that aspect.
Well, other day, we were in Sydney and there was 4 ladies having lunch, all 4 on the phones.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if they're actually texting each other. Like all 4, people are, I don't know if they're becoming, more disconnected in a way, but technology, I feel like, is taking over our life. Another day, a couple of months ago, actually, I walked into my office and I asked my staff, you know what, can everybody stop for 1 second? And I asked them 2 things. One, there's a way you can check how much time you're spending on Instagram. Average was like 3 hours.
Yours is 3 hours a day?
No, my staff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
My staff was 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
And but when it comes to how much time they spend on the phone was like 9 hours, something stupid. I was like, holy shit.
We had a neuroscientist on our show the other day because I became really fascinated with exactly this, because I've got a 13-year-old son who is addicted to the iPhone, and I get really pissed off with it. Yes. And then at the same time...
But there's nothing you can do. That's life now.
Well, it is, but I'm walking around with mine, and my mum comes over and she's a baby boomer and she's like, they're all on their phone, and then she's attached to hers and she's like, but I'm doing it for my brain activities. I'm like, we're all the same.
Yeah, we all bullshit to
ourselves.
We
all bullshit to each other, yeah. And this neuroscientist was basically explaining the effect of that ding.
Yes.
When your phone goes off and how it does change you. And I mean, he's a neuroscientist, so that's all he does is study scans of the brain. And he was saying that we are being diagnosed and people are actually getting conditions of autism and ADHD as a result of our smartphone. And that is a huge statement to make. Yes. And a lot of people will be like, geez, that's a big trigger. But it's a way that we're using it. I mean, you think about it. When we were younger, we had to watch TV.
Yeah, I'm still young, by the way.
I know. We're both Shut up, just because you got better skin than other people. It's European skin. So, but we used to watch the TV show and then we used to wait for the ads.
Yes.
And then we had to wait next week for that show to come on.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden, if the kids don't like any sort of clip and, you know, it's a couple of minutes long, so our attention span has completely and utterly changed. So I was asking him what we can do about it. And the reason I was thinking this is because on the weekend I went away where we didn't have our phones. So we didn't have caffeine, didn't have alcohol, didn't have our phones. And the phones was
What
the
was
hardest.
the hardest
Phone, 100%.
That's interesting.
100%, because you just, I guess it's that connection of I've got to be on it. And I said, what do you do for yours? Like, you know, you're a neuroscientist and
Yes.
you obviously still have a smartphone. He goes, yeah, I do. And he goes, he takes off all notifications on his phone, and he tells his friends and family, I'm going to check my phone in intervals throughout the day.
Yes.
So if you need me, call me,
Yes.
because that's different. But I'm not going to check the text messages. I'm not going to check all the other emails and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I think it was once or twice a day. So I tried this. So I left it into the room. I did have my phone when I was away.
Yes.
I only checked it on the Saturday night. I'd taken off all notifications. And I came back on the Saturday night and I checked in Friday afternoon.
Yes.
I looked at my phone and I had 179 texts and WhatsApp messages.
Jesus.
And I was like,
Do I
holy
answer
shit.
that many?
Is this what I go through all the time? And it's because, you know, the kids are all on different WhatsApp thing of like school groups, of sporting stuff, all stuff that maybe we don't need to know all the time, but you feel like you got to be across it. And I'm the worst. I'm like
But
constantly.
we're also suckers for wasting time.
Yes. And then pretending we're so busy.
Ah, yeah. I mean, look, I'm going to check on my phone how much time I spend on Instagram.
I'm not going to show you mine. Because this was all about revealing it for other people.
I'm gonna be guessing that you are no different to me.
Do you want me to go and check it?
I'll be actually great. Can you just pass a handbag? Nice handbag, by the way.
I actually don't buy designer stuff. This was my friend that handed me down. So
Okay.
are you going on screen time?
Yep. No, not on screen time. Instagram. You go to time management. So if you go to these three buttons.
Oh, I was just going to go screen time. Do you never do that?
Just Instagram. Instagram that's what I call most of it time saving. And then you go to time management.
But you know that you can look at it all like that.
Jesus. 3.5 hours a day.
Whoa. I thought we were sharing.
We are sharing, but you kick
I know
my
I told
ass.
you to be. No, wait. No, this is for all apps. So this is my daily average. So today I've been on the phone for 3 hours and 5 minutes.
Already?
Yeah, but
It's
I
12
use it
o'clock.
for work.
So I reckon you need to be safe. Cut this out.
So Safari. So my Instagram is 26 minutes today. So go to screen time. It's just an eye opener of.
Oh, I'm good. 2 hours and 11 minutes. It's average.
And what have you? So click on the actual details to find out, and then you can find out what you've been on.
28 minutes Instagram.
See, I'm 26.
Bullshit.
No, bullshit, nothing. 26. Oh, Jesus.
It's unbelievable. There's no
So the
way
reason I do all this is
have
because
I been really on the phone for 2 hours today? It's like midday.
I know, but this is what I do because I check my teenage son because he's like, oh, no, I haven't been. And then I have a look and I can find out what.
And then it's like, yeah, but mommy kicks your ass.
I'm not stupid. I don't show mine.
But that's fascinating. You know, friend of mine and my business partner, Simon Bede, he watches all YouTube videos on double the speed.
So do I.
But there's a problem.
Yeah.
He can't watch a normal movie with his wife on a normal speed. Because he's so used to watching a 1 hour, whatever, in 30 minutes. And now he's struggling to watch a normal movie or anything in a normal time.
Who watches TV without their phone there now?
That is interesting.
You know, like we don't do the one thing. Like my son is waiting for a game to load up and he's like, oh, no, I need to be on my phone because it takes 10 minutes to load up. And I was like, mate, we had to dial up internet. It used to take a long time.
Noise.
I was like, you can wait there and just be impatient. Like learn to be bored because I think that's what fills in their creativity. I mean, I don't know the solution, but I do know that that's probably what has changed where we're so impatient.
Look, there's a good and
much.
bad in everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I love the fact that we have access to information.
Yeah.
You know, these days you can find anything within split second. I mean, when I'm 45, when I was, I don't know, 18, 19, like, how the hell did I even learn things?
Encyclopedia.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, how did I learn? You either gotta read a book or watch TV or listen to radio, or like, how did you find information about anything?
Yeah.
You know, these days, you know, I'm a massive user of AI. I've used ChatGPT more than freaking Google to find things. But everything is instant for us. That's a good thing because you can learn things faster, right?
Yeah.
But how is it going to affect humans in 5-10 years? Like, holy shit.
We've put it in before to see if it could take over our show.
And?
I mean, I don't know, a little, like you could construct something. I don't think it would really be interesting as much. It was just like a demonstration. But
I reckon in 5 years, you can have another Abby that does what you do.
The world does not need that, trust me. There's no way.
One Abby is enough.
I think so. I reckon that's probably enough. But it is interesting how it's changed. There's going to be so many different jobs. But I guess I hope that there is eventually, I guess, more of an interest in the communication, because that's what I love. Like, I just like everything, I guess, live TV or live radio. I like that pressure and that instant exchange. So I hope that
I feel like some people, you know, when you go somewhere and you see somebody doing whatever they're doing and you think to yourself, you know what, you're meant to do that job. You know, you're so happy doing that. That's just meant for you. And I feel like what you do is so you, right? Because your energy, you can't do what you do without the energy that you have. And I feel like you can lift a dead person out of ground and let him talk to you.
And then drop him very quickly if I don't like him.
Back.
Yeah. You're boring me. That's it. My short attention span. Yeah, I mean, I remember my parents taking me to the Great Barrier Reef, and it was really exciting. We'd saved up for this holiday. And from South Australia, and we went to the Great Barrier Reef.
Is that where you're originally from?
Yeah. So I lived in Sydney for some time. So I moved to Sydney when I was 17, but grew up in Adelaide. Went to Sydney, then moved back to Adelaide.
That's why I love your wine.
Yes, exactly. I love a strong Shiraz.
Me too.
Yeah. So then we went on this snorkeling, the Great Barrier Reef, and we'd all signed up and we'd gone on it. And then my parents were waiting on the boat for it, and they took me back straight away. And I was like, oh God, what happened? They said to my parents, I'm really sorry, she's a drowning hazard. She won't shut up talking with the snorkel on, because I could see all these fish. And every time I was like 6 or 7, I was like, and they're like, come on, you can't talk. I couldn't get the concept of it. So that's what they used to always joke about, that I could talk underwater. So that's something that I've always liked, because I'm terrible at writing. I'm really dyslexic. So I found school really hard, but love to be able to talk.
I can talk underwater and I can think on my feet, but school just wasn't for me.
Was it the lesson, the structure, the way they taught? What do you think it was?
You know what? Even these days, when I drive past my house school, I was like, oh, I hated that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Maybe because I just didn't have stuff. If I was interested in something, for some reason, I was really good with maths. But most stuff that I was not interested in, I just couldn't get myself to focus. I couldn't fake it.
Yeah.
Like science, I was like, fuck me. You know what I mean? It's like I really had no interest in it, and I couldn't even force myself. I forced myself enough just to not fail.
Yeah.
You know, which is again interesting. You know, I wonder if the school system be able to follow the changes that are happening in the world?
I think it's too late for it. I think it's huge delay. And I agree with you, because I was looking into the way, so I've got 3 sons and they're very quite different. And one of them is, he will listen to a song on the radio and he'll be able to sing it, every single lyric the next time.
Yes.
So he learns, like, you know, through hearing. And then my other son would never be able to learn any of the lyrics.
Yes.
Ever. It just wouldn't. And he learns through movement and feelings, you know, and he's the middle one. The youngest one just doesn't want to learn, so I haven't really worked that one out yet. But I think that's really, when you're sitting...
He's my type.
Yeah. Well, they tried to do a reading thing for him, and they're like, we can't do an assessment. I said, why? And they said, because he just said, no, please. I said, what do you mean? And they said, he needs to do learning. He said, no, please, and then walked off. He's in year 1, so they still haven't worked it out. But Yeah, but I just think that that's a different thing. If you're sitting in a classroom and you can't listen and retain it the same way, then that's how they learn. Yes, so for other people that might do it through movement or a different way, I don't think the school system is set up for them. And no one teaches you about interest rates and credit cards and all those common sense.
But which is also interesting when you are 18 years old, for example, and a lot of people want to go to university. And at age 18, they have to make life-changing decision. Okay, I'm going to go and become a lawyer or a doctor or accountant or whatever it is. I'm going to study 4 or 5 years. But at age 18, you don't know what the world is all about. You have no idea what any of the jobs or any of the uni degrees you want to study, if you're going to love it. I always say it would be easy if we start living backwards. You get born at 90 years old with all the knowledge and you know what? I know where I fucked up in my life. What I'm going to do differently would be easy. But, when you're trying to establish yourself in life, you don't really know anything at age 18, but you got to make the decision if you want to go to uni, where you're going to spend 4 or 5 years and maybe wasted.
I think it is changing, but you're right. I got a huge HECS bill when we were first going for our first loan.
Yes.
And my husband and I.
Before you even get a loan, you already got a loan.
Well, that's it. I didn't realize that it was a debt because I was so bad with money. Like my sense of knowledge of it was ridiculous. And when we were going there, the broker was like, oh, you've got this debt. And there was like $45,000 debt from HECS. And my husband looked at me and said, did you finish a uni degree? And I was like, no, but it is general knowledge and you can't really put a price on that. And he goes, they fucking did. They did.
Yes. And he's right.
So we had to pay that off. And I guess I didn't know what I wanted to study. So first thing I went to psychology because I find it fascinating. But could have I picked up a book and learnt what I want to? Yeah, probably. I didn't want to practice it. So I did psychology and then I did marketing. Then I went away and did drama.
Which is kind of all three, including drama, that you're utilizing on a daily basis today.
Yeah, absolutely. But did I need to go to uni for it and become the best at karaoke on a Tuesday afternoon and miss all my lectures that afternoon? No, I didn't. I don't know. I think there's still going to be places for uni for a lot of people that are doing, I mean, I don't want to go, hey, just a doctor sets yourself in. But I do feel like there's so many different ways of going about that job these days.
Yes. Look, one thing that I always say, the good thing about uni, people learn the discipline. You got to start something and you got to finish it. That's a good start, right? Because these days, young kids, their patience is completely different, I feel like, than mine was when I was a lot younger.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to get a 4-year degree in 2 minutes. Who is the most interesting person you interviewed? Besides talking to me now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Someone asked me that question. Yeah, I'll do it. I think it's people that you find like that I am interested in.
Not most famous, most interesting.
No, but I think I kind of go, I loved Sex and the City. So Sarah Jessica Parker blew my mind in the way that you kind of go, she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to, but she does. And she uses your name. And when you're like, so starstruck and she would have had someone around the corner. Yeah. Yes. She would have had someone around the corner be able to do it. And she goes, oh, Abby, that's a wonderful question. You're like, oh my God.
She knows me.
And of course she doesn't. But I think I was so interested in her. Bono was an amazing interview.
Have you gone to the concert when you two had a concert in?
No, I didn't.
It'd be more than, I reckon, 10 or so years ago in Brisbane. It was probably the best concert I ever went to.
Yeah.
Bono and I think Jay-Z was...
I remember the Suncorp. Yeah.
Yeah, Suncorp. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But Bono is one of my favorite bands, U2.
Yeah.
And he would be interesting.
He was phenomenal. I think there's a list of people that I find fascinating for different reasons, like even Chris Martin from Coldplay.
Oh, yes.
He was just so dry and so, I would say, really emotionally connected. And I found that really fascinating. Yes. Like he'd say things and go, you guys are so funny. And you'd be like, but he's not fucking laughing. And it would be so unnerving. And he'd be like, I was speaking to my therapist about that today. And you're like, how amazing, how truthful and honest and just really reflective he was. And personally, if I listen to Coldplay on the radio, I'll find them a bit boring. Not really interested.
Not your type, music.
Not really my type.
Yeah.
Unless you go to their gig.
Yeah,
they
it's different.
Are phenomenal. He's an
Yes.
entertainer for someone who can sit opposite and you'll go, he lights
Yes.
up a broom, but in a different way, in a calming way, in a sense like I've got everyone under
Well,
control.
I was dragged once. I was never a big fan. This was a long time ago. I don't know how he does concerts these days. Like Robbie Williams.
Yes, yeah.
I never really listened to his music that much, but I was dragged to his concert many years ago. I was like, holy shit, that was awesome.
Yes.
That
Well,
was-
Robbie Williams, we had an interview with him.
Yes.
And this is what happens before an interview, right? Someone will come in and they'll go, hey, just so you know, we've just got this from the record label. And you're like, what? And they're like, we'll give you a piece of paper. And it says, the album was called Swing Both Ways.
Yes.
And on there it said, no personal questions, no questions about sex, no questions, this whole list of all this stuff.
And there you are thinking, what the fuck am I going to ask
It's called
you?
Swing Both Ways. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a bit of tongue in cheek, right? I was like, no worries. Anyway, so we're asking this question and I just asked him something and it just felt really a bit weird for me.
Yes.
And I just paused and I said, I'm sorry, we're not allowed to ask you so much. He goes, what? I said, we've got a list of stuff we're not allowed to ask you about. So I'm not allowed to ask you about, blah, blah. And he goes, and he went on this big rant.
He wouldn't give a shit.
He was like, that's bullshit. You ask whatever you want. No one should tell you what to do. You should do it. Like, ask me. And I said, okay. And he goes, here we go. Ask whatever question you want. And I was like, okay. Well, now you are only with one woman. Now you're married. How does it feel to have sex just with one woman when you used to with a lot? And he goes, you only ask what you can ask. Fucking put that question together and don't ask me that. I couldn't stop laughing, but he answered it, but he was just like, and he turned and he goes, now I know why you tell him not to ask something. But I think it was just, he was kind of felt a little bit refreshed, I guess, for people to actually ask those questions, because often people will just be.
But that's one thing I always say. People ask me who's my mentor.
Yeah.
And my answer is always the same. Every person I meet every single day.
Yeah.
Because every person you can learn something from. Like today, I feel like you have given me that extra dose of energy that I'm excited to keep living, right? So you can learn something from good, bad, whatever. And good thing about, what you do, you are exposed to, you're forced to speaking to so many people, which is so great for you, right? Because, you can line up 100 people and have 100 conversations with 100 different people and there's story within every single individual.
So fascinating. And I like when you kind of go, like hearing your story, you could have went both ways, right?
Yes.
Hearing your childhood. And I love it when people go, I became this because of that.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, someone could have said the opposite. Do you know what I mean? If anyone's got a hard luck story, they could go the opposite way. Yes. And I find that that's what's so fascinating because I was off the rails as a teenager and I had to go to therapy. I had eating disorders, drug abuse, blah, blah, whatever. And I remember there was one therapist and I remember saying to her, like, did you ever have a problem with alcohol or anything like this? And she said, no, I was really lucky. My dad was an alcoholic. And I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's, wow. Okay, I was really lucky my dad was an alcoholic because from her, she's never touched it or she's never had a problem with it. Now, I don't know if that would have been the case for all her siblings. And I find that so fascinating to hear her story and what drove her to that moment. And I kid you not, every single person has a story to tell. And I find them so fascinating. And I'll talk to people at honestly, I'll talk to people at shops. I'll talk to people out at the football. I love a chat. But as soon as they bore me, I'm done.
But wouldn't it be, I always thought about this with so much technology happening. I would love to have technology that comes up. Like I look at a person walking and as soon as you look at him, 10 minutes movie comes out of their head. And you can see like from age 0 to age fucking 45, summarized into a movie, you'll be like, oh my, I'll be eating fucking popcorn like this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because people's the stress, the happiness, the misery, because all of us in life, there's no single person that can say, I haven't cried.
Yeah.
We all have cried. We all have dealt with some kind of issues in our life and we all cried from happiness too, right? But the way life takes every single individual, there's just unbelievable story. But one thing I want to touch base is I've seen so many young individuals that are 17 or 18 and because of bad past, bad parents, poor parents, whatever it is, they are wrapped in this feeling sorry for themselves mentality that they can't snap out of it. And I always say to people, like victim mentality, which is, I can understand, because us as a humans, we can beat ourselves, up extremely a lot. And I always say there's two parts of your brain, or in my brain anyway. When you wake up in the morning, there's a negative part, why everything is hard. And your brain is your biggest enemy and your best friend, and nobody can beat us down as much as we can beat ourselves down with whatever we're thinking. And people don't realize that they're only one split-second decision away from changing their lives, and especially people that are wrapped in this, victim mentality. And I always say my two brains, in the morning, one, if it's negative, straight away my positive brain says, go and fuck yourself. You're going to have an amazing fucking day.
Yeah.
And I'm such a believer in that. But I think a lot of people in general, not just young people, they don't, I really think that people don't realize they only have one life. I think people are wrapped that they're going to live fucking forever. I always say, to really see how you're going to live your life, just go and spend 5 minutes with somebody who's 95 years old. And just ask them, hey, John, how fast did life go by?
Yeah.
You think somebody's 95, they're going to say, you know what, took forever to fucking get here. Nobody's going to say that,
It really dragged on.
Yeah, it really fucking dragged on, right?
Just wanted to go to the punchline, and here I am.
So people can't, when people can really understand the true value of their life, then they will realize that they got no time to waste.
But it's scary. And I think what you're saying, and I always say the victim mentality, I call it the blame game. Do you know where it's like, I could have done this, but you did that. Yes. And in my house, I get so annoyed with the blame game. Do you know what I mean?
Especially with the kids.
Yeah.
Her fault.
And with my
fault.
husband as well. I'm like, oh, here we go with the blame game. And it's because, like I left my shoes in your car and you've gone off to work the next day. I left my shoes in the car because I had to carry my tennis bag and you wouldn't help me. And I'm like, no, mate, you left your shoes in the car because you left your shoes in the car. That's it. So when you are only being able to blame yourself, then you've got that accountability to change it. And I think why people get so stuck in the victim mentality is it's scary. It's scary to know that you're the one that's got you there. And it's so much easier, I guess, to look at circumstances along the ways or things that people have done wrong by you rather than actually taking that accountability. Because that's when I sort of, took a step back and I was like, geez, wait a minute. I guess I had so severe eating disorders because I used to believe that my mum was quite like that. When really taking a step back, I'm like, it's still me. Yes. So if I was able to go, okay, I'm the one that's able to change that. Yes. I'm the one that's got me at this step.
Everything that happens in your life, it's your fault.
But that's really hard to hear, isn't it?
That's the fact, because we all kind of craft our life journey, right? I remember friend of mine said something to me. He said, Emil, you will never be able to move on from whatever bad happened to you till you look at yourself in a mirror and say it's your fault. Like even if you're in a bad relationship and it didn't work out, you can cry about it. It's your fault. You were the moron that spent 5 years with a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Why didn't you? Your fault, right? You had choice to say I'm getting out. If you had choice, right?
Yes.
Maybe some people don't. So I can't say, it's not everybody's the same. But we all have our choices. And every time I speak to a lot of my friends that run businesses and they complain, I was like, you fucking chose that life.
Yeah. You're the main character in your movie.
You chose that life. Like if you tell me, hey, I don't like what I do, like whose fucking fault is that?
Yeah.
Did somebody put a gun to your head and say, you gotta go and work 4:30 in the morning? I mean, it is fucking crazy running 2:45 in the morning. That's retarded.
I don't do that anymore, but yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We are all in control of our decisions, and who is one person you wanted to interview but you haven't?
Eminem.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I love Eminem. For someone who's...
I still listen to in my car, Eminem, Tupac, Biggie and all the fucking, maybe I'm old.
You're not. How's this? My son said to me that he's found someone who's really good, and put some music on. Can he put it in the car? And he put on Eminem. And I was like...
holy shit.
Nah. But I was still proud that this guy is, just through every era has been able to, I guess... transform and stay relevant. He's just someone that I really love. As someone who's not a wordsmith and, finds it so hard. I'm like, he's just an absolute lyrical genius. And Eminem's just been one person that I've always requested.
Which is interesting that you haven't, because he did come to Australia in the past.
He did. I went and saw him at Suncorp, yes. And we couldn't get an interview. So my workmates, so cruel, pretended that we had an interview and just did it with all those soundboards. So the whole time I was talking
That's so cool.
So cruel. You know when it dawns on you, because you know, like at one point you know that it's fake, but do you want to be the person that says to Eminem, oh, you're not him?
You're full of shit, buddy.
Yeah, I couldn't. So I just went on for too long and I'm like, it's not him. And I could see their faces laughing and I was like, no.
I reckon I would quit on the spot.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Because you get access to most people that come to Australia. Do you still have that? I like being excited about things in life.
Yes.
Small things, meeting people, I get excited. And, do you still have that same excitement knowing, I'm meeting X person or whatever? Do you still get that excitement like you had it when you started?
Yeah, always.
Always.
I mean, I love interviews. Like I got nervous coming here. And I just go, isn't that exciting that you get nervous doing things?
Yes.
Like I love that. Like to actually be fearful of things and going, yes, cool, I'm still going to go in it. Because, I got asked to do this TV show and I was like, I don't really want to do it. But I'm like, but I don't want to do it because I'm fearful. Oh shit, now I've got to do it.
Funny thing is I actually got asked to go on I got a message sent to go on, I think, Australian Survivor. And my wife looked at me, she said, you wouldn't survive.
You wouldn't survive. Didn't you just start training and now you want to go on Survivor?
No, she's
overachiever.
I got a text on and I got like, would you be interested? I looked at it. I said to Giselle, she looked at me, she said, you wouldn't survive. I was like, yes, I would. I said, I used to go camping and shit, I said,
when was the last time you went camping?
When I was like 17.
Okay. I don't think it's camping, mate. I think you got to put your body on the line. Maybe you guys could do Amazing Race. Do you reckon you'd survive, you two, on Amazing Race?
I reckon if we went on Amazing Race, you would be like, I need to get these guys on my show, because we would be one of those people that are killing each other on the show.
And then at the end of the day, I love you too. People are like, what is with this couple?
So we are completely, somebody asked me the other day, how is it to work with your partner? I said, it's like fantastic. Besides wanting to kill each other every day, it's fantastic. Funny thing is, I asked a long time ago, a friend of mine, he just started dating this lady and they were dating for a couple of years. And I said, how is the relationship? He said, it's fantastic. We just can't communicate. I was like, yeah, fucking perfect, right?
See, I'm a marriage celebrant on the side just because I like weddings. Like there's no other reason for
That's
it. So I
because Giselle and I want to renew
your vows.
Yes, in later this year.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to have a celebrant for that because you're not actually legally doing it, but
no, but we wanted to do it
like a real. Are you gonna walk down?
We wanted to.
Are you gonna walk down the aisle and make it all?
We want to make it like a real wedding. I tell you why.
You got to spend the night separate.
Oh yeah, then excited like, ooh, watch out.
Night before, see each other for the first time. I love that stuff.
But I tell you why. We met when we were 18. We got married when we were 22.
Holy moly.
That's young.
That's really young.
That's really young. Like when I think about it, did I even know what life is really about at age 22?
But did you just know? Is that what you mean? You just like, why did you want to get married that?
Well, we were dating for 4 years.
So it seems like it was the right thing to do.
Well, yeah. And then we were married happily till age 30, and then we were separate for many years.
Yeah.
And that's why I always say I will never let my wife go again for a fucking minute, ever. Most amazing human.
So when you do anniversaries, do you count the time separate?
Fuck no. In my mind, she's always there.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like if you say we've been together for so many years, what about the years that you were separate? Is that included or do you say like
yes.
still? Okay.
I feel like, sometimes we are good at pretending or lying to ourselves.
Yeah.
I like to lie to myself that we were never separate for a minute.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sweet lie to myself because I don't want to imagine that I didn't have her for those years.
But I think that's that thing of growing, isn't it?
Yes.
Where you just need that. And it's so true. When someone's in front of you or something's in front of you and you don't appreciate it.
Oh.
You know, when you look back at it, I mean, I don't know about you, but you kind of go, I did my shoulder at work. It's so silly. But I wasn't working out.
How the fuck did you do shoulder at your work? You only sit on your ass.
So I was trying to beat a world record of the most hurdles in flippers because that seemed like some stupid thing that we were doing. And I was doing like this polo thing. Anyway, so we were doing stupid stuff. Right. I think it was for the most Guinness Book of World Records, stupid things that we could do. And I put my arm out and did it. But like it just, you know, when you kind of go, you never appreciate anything until you don't have your health. Oh. Isn't it amazing when you don't appreciate stuff until it is taken away? And I think that you always do that great aspect of just being grateful. Yes. You know what I mean? Of constantly going, cool, I appreciate it.
Yes.
But I can understand how being together so young, you kind of just fall into patterns where you're like, wait a minute, we need to.
Yes, but we never stopped loving each other, which is crazy. And but anyway, when we were getting married, age 22, few things. We had 300 people on our wedding. Yeah. Being European, your mom and dad get involved. You know what? This cousin of a fucking cousin.
Did you meet people at your wedding for the first time?
Oh, fuck yeah. Like this cousin of a cousin. They invited us for the wedding 15 years ago. Remember? I was like, no, I fucking don't. We cannot invite them. 300 people.
Yeah, the wedding's for the parents.
Like, you don't know anyone. You know, and you know, funny thing is like, 20 odd years later, some people would say, hey, I was at your wedding. I was like, buddy, I didn't know you before my wedding and I still fucking don't know you today. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. But now, and I remember first wedding ring for Giselle, I spent $1,500 for. I was like, ooh, you know. And now I want us to like do wedding for us.
With all the people that are important in your life right now.
And it will not be fucking 300. Let's just get that straight, you know. And so it'll be only people that, you know, we want to have. Why
now? Why this year? Is it a special anniversary?
No, we just feel like and last 2 years we were building a home and we feel like, you know, it's the right, we are in the right stage of our life where we can have time to plan it and I decided this time I got no say. Like Giselle's
going to do it,
whatever you want, we
See, I love weddings. There's a few of my friends who selfishly...
And I'm so excited now.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was saying there's a few of my friends that are selfishly not getting married. So they got kids. They were together with their partner. And I'm like, the wedding is for us. It's for our time to get together.
I reckon every... look, life is all about experiences. You know, you gotta, you know, we don't have kids, but if you have kids, you gotta get excited about your kid's first birthday or 18th and enjoy all of those things, you know, that are kind of part of life journey.
Did you write your vows back then or did you you were in a Catholic church? So do you even remember?
Yes. I definitely didn't write them. I can think on my fucking feet. You
didn't write them down? No.
This time, I'm fucking writing them down.
Because if I don't have the groom crying, then I'm like, we're gonna.
Yeah, it's a fake second time.
Because I'm like, it's the one time where you stand opposite and you're so vulnerable.
See, thinking back now, age 22, like I was really, really bad at being present.
Yeah.
What I mean, be present, like. Me having a conversation with you now, I'm present, you know. And if I'm talking to my mom today, which I will, I'm going to be present. If I'm having a lunch, if I'm working, if I'm talking to a little kid on the road, I'm going to be present. If you spoke to me 15 years ago, I would be talking to you now, but my brain is at work. Yeah. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you know. So that's why I keep preaching to people right now. It's so critical that we are all present in moments every single day. Otherwise, you're going to think to yourself, you know how many people say, oh my God, where did the last 10 years go? Oh, fucking, you need to know where it went. Yeah. You know what? I was loving, I made mistakes, I did this, I did that, but you kind of know your life because you were present. Otherwise, if you're just running like a madman, and I feel like early stages of my life, I wasn't present.
Do you feel like you would have achieved so much if you weren't, though, like that? Do you know, like I only say this because my husband is a person that's present, like all the time.
Yes.
And bless his cotton socks.
Like, you're too much present.
He's so present. It's like just now, like there's no forward planning because he just doesn't have that forward planning. And I think that there is a real calmness. I said, any more calmness and your heart would stop. It's that quiet. And I said, do you have any stress in your life? And he always goes, only you, babe. Because he's so...
I can tell.
He's like, I would never have an affair because I can't handle one. But he's so present in there that I wonder if it's that sense of impatience or a sense that you want to achieve or a sense that you're always thinking or learning from the past. Has it only got to that point where you kind of go, I've kind of made it now, or I know who I am, or whether it was an age thing that then you then could be present?
Great question. You're definitely right. Maybe if I wasn't present, I wouldn't be where I am today. But funny thing is, I never did anything for the money, ever. I'm just passionate. I love creating things. I love doing
the
things.
Challenge.
I love, fucking challenge.
Yeah.
You know, conquering the Mount Everest. You know, what do you need to do to train yourself and your body to be able to try to attempt and then get on the top, right? Maybe if I wasn't present, definitely I wouldn't be here today.
Because a lot of people that are present, and look, don't get me wrong, I do agree with you. And I think that people really need to be, especially in conversations, and give themselves a break and really be present for that. But my husband can't write goals.
Yes.
Because he doesn't, that's not being present.
Yes,
do you know what I mean? So I'm like, no, be present. But then just take yourself outside of there and write your goals to be able to achieve it.
But he has you for that.
Yeah, but we've got shared goals. I'll tell him what they are every year. This is what we're achieving.
This is our goals.
Yeah.
Stick to it, plan it. And that's why there's always that opposite attract.
100%. We are so opposite.
If you were married to another you, somebody would be dead long time ago.
Yeah, I can't handle being around him. Yeah.
If I had another me, I was like, I would quit.
Yeah.
Where do I resign from this relationship long time ago? But I think it also comes with the age as well.
Yeah.
And then, smaller things make me happy now. The funny thing is, in life, most people spend chasing things.
Yeah.
But when they get them, they're not that special, right? So that's why I always say you got to enjoy the moments, be present in your journey more than anything, right? It's like I see all the young guys, oh my God, I can't wait till I get Ferrari.
Yes.
And then they spend 20 years and they get it. I was like, okay, so you're going to eat shit for 20 years, be so fucking unhappy. So one day you got a car, but 20 years are lost. So
I'll be happy when.
Correct.
Because I used to always be like that. I'll be happy when. And now I look back and I kind of go, I remember our first house and we couldn't afford electricity, like honestly, because I was so bad with money that we managed to get this loan and got our first home. And then we're going on a honeymoon. I called the bank and I was like, do you mind if we stop the repayments for a little bit because we're going away? And they were like, no. And I was like,
the world doesn't work like that.
This is for life. Oh, okay. And I really had to do an acceleration of, lessons on money to be able to do it. But I remember we used to had a back shed and it was freezing in Adelaide. There was a massive back shed and my husband got an old, you get those old drums, timber drums, and he'd cut it off and made a fireplace. So it was an open fire.
Yes.
And we used to burn that in the backyard and we used to sleep on the couch and this open fireplace that was really just an
romantic.
old yeah, so romantic. And we used to have to sleep on the couch together and I hated it at the time. And I look back and I go,
that was so
how
much
amazing
fun.
Was that? That was so amazing that we kind of go, you have to enjoy the journey, but unfortunately that is lost on the people that haven't gone through the journey. You only know that after. But I guess I now have learned to love the struggle or love being able to get somewhere, if that makes sense.
What advice would you have to people that are trying to break into niche market? What I mean by that is, if you want to be a rugby player, there's thousands of rugby teams around the world. But if you want to have your job when there's only few radio stations that are on the top. I mean, there are some that nobody fucking knows the name of, no offense. So your market is so tough, right? Because there's only like 5 people in your freaking team. And there's a lot of people like, my dream is one day to be there. But the reality is the industry is so little. It's like being a tennis player. Like only top 100 tennis players get paid good money, but there's like fucking 7-something billion people and only 100 are there. You know what I mean? Or like Formula One that I watched yesterday. there's only 20 drivers, you know what I mean, in that pinnacle.
Yeah.
So some industries are so hard because it's such a freaking niche, but people want to be Abby. How can they get there?
I would say act like you are them now. And that seems such a ludicrous thing to say because, of course, you don't have the money. But if you want to be a tennis player, get up and train like them.
Yes.
In all honesty, how serious they take it, how serious they take their diet, how much they want to learn, how much they want to be obsessed with it. And I don't feel like people are obsessed with it. And that's okay. But I would question you don't want it enough.
Yes.
Because it's the people that kind of go, you know, I say this to my son, like he loves tennis. But I don't think he would ever be professional because he doesn't enjoy the training. And that is being professional.
Yes.
And I would say to you...
It's like what Mike Tyson would say. You got to learn how to love things you hate doing.
Yeah, do the hard stuff now, you know, while you can. And you know what I mean? I think eventually you love to learn those hard stuff, but you don't love it straight away. And I kind of go, I love doing acting, but I think I only liked the actual work. But the process of it, of doing my voice training, all that, I didn't like it. And therefore I did not like it enough.
Imagine me trying to get voice training. How the fuck do I get rid of my accent?
No, they always say that if you moved from a country after puberty, then you're always going to keep your accent. If you move before, then that's when people.
Well, my brother was 11. I was 16.
So does he have an accent?
No.
See, that's what I meant. So he moved after.
You wouldn't think they'd be brothers.
Before, yeah. Isn't that crazy? And people are like, you sure you're brothers? And you're like, yeah.
So with me, like voice coach.
Stop the accent. You're putting it on. Stop.
I need a voice coach to keep my accent.
Yeah. But it's funny people coming into radio. We have it in the past of people saying, you know, I really want to be on radio.
Yes.
And I would go, do you?
They really want to run with a couple of lunatics 2:45 in the morning.
Yeah, but I don't think they want to get up early or they don't want to become fascinated in I guess, every aspect of it. We've got a lot of people that I guess want to be famous and I've never wanted to be famous. I don't
like it or not because everybody knows you.
Well, I don't know. I kind of go, I can go anywhere without makeup and not give a shit. Like I'm just who I am, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
doing a job on radio.
I think that's your personality.
But I could never be like, I would never want to be a celebrity. So I did a reality show when I was 18. I did something called The Mole. Right. Okay. And it was the first reality show that ever came to Australia.
I knew that.
You
know, you're supposed to know everything about your guests.
Yeah, but I don't reveal a lot. So there you go. No, but I did that. And the only reason I went on it is because I wanted to skydive and I didn't have any money. And I heard from one of the camera people that they were going skydiving. So I was like, sure, I'll sign up for anything.
They wouldn't pay me enough to go on that show.
Well, now I'd never do it. But I remember...
No, there's no way I would skydive.
You wouldn't do it?
Oh, no. If they paid me $1 billion, I would say no fucking way.
Well, I wanted to because I was an idiot at 18.
No.
And I signed up for it.
I'm just scared of heights.
Are you?
Oh.
Don't they get it like that tingly excited?
You keep the tingly to yourself.
Yeah, I think
Zero interest.
But I filled it out. I filled out this application and then they were like, oh, can you come in for an interview? I went into a room at the Hyatt in Adelaide and I was filling out a psych test. There's all these cameras. And I was like, what the hell have I done here? And anyway, so then later they actually sent tickets because that's when it was for Ansett. So it was the actual in your hand to be able to go away. And it was, my parents were like, what have you signed up for? And I was like, I don't really know. This contract doesn't really make sense. Yeah. And they're like, wait. So anyway, so we got on this plane and went to Tasmania and was filming this for 2 weeks. But I remember when it first came out, I was so embarrassed because everyone knew who you were and were coming up asking for autographs. And I was like, I don't feel like I did anything. Yeah. Like I was only on a reality show. I was like, I think I would prefer it if I had achieved something. But for me, I kind of go, I felt that uncomfortableness, people knowing who you are.
Who do you think, in your mind, is the person that wasted their talent?
Wasted their talent?
Because, you know, some people have so much talent, they become something for 1 minute and then they either pull back. I won't say Britney Spears because I feel like she was so big and then she disappeared.
I won't say names because I know that I'm, you know, it's going to bite me in the butt and I'll end up interviewing. But we have interviewed singers who have like
so good, right?
Brilliant.
Yes.
But they have a song which is just like #1 in the charts.
Yes.
And the problem is they have people around them, and I don't know why they still do it, where they're like, you're the one. you're amazing, you're brilliant, everything about you.
Ego goes through the roof.
And they're just, and I look at it and you look at people like Justin Bieber and you're like, wow, it must have been so hard to be able to just be them with all those people just around them being yes people. And
sometimes you just need people to tell you, pull your head in.
Yeah. And
But do you think they would be scared to tell them something?
Totally. So I remember this person, I got a photo with them and they loved actually my baby. I had a little baby. I had to take him for an interview because it was 8:00 at night.
Yes.
And I was like, someone else was looking, but she's like, oh my God, I really want to hold the baby. So she's holding the baby and it was so cute. And I posted a photo and I had someone from their team ask me to take down the photo because it wasn't from her best angle. And I was like, holy moly, that's extraordinary. And I have to say, we haven't heard from them after that. Yeah. I know they're still doing some things, but I was like, isn't that amazing when they had all the talent, they had all the ability to really make it big, but whether they thought they were better than what they are, maybe they had the wrong people around them, but I'd say that would be a lot of talent wasted. And you can tell when you interview them that it's just not a genuine, you interview people like Pink and she really is her.
Yes.
And I just find that fascinating because
she's one person I would want to interview because I feel like her energy and craziness, that would be like in real life.
It's an energy when people don't have to put on a persona. Yes. Like that's a real...
When they're not trying.
They're not trying.
Yes,
she's just genuinely that. And it's so intriguing. And I think that I'm drawn to that because I don't think I could put on different personas because that would just be too hard.
I'd be a terrible actor.
Yeah.
You
just get enough. I couldn't do it. But just, for people like that, they're genuinely themselves. And I think there's a lot of people that we have met and you go, oh, it's a shame. I wonder how they're going to go in 5 years' time in this industry.
Yes.
Yeah. We actually call them their, so if we interview some big stars, and they're amazing and they're quite genuine. And then next time you meet them, they're like too big. We call them their C years. So we're like, we hope we speak to them when they come out of their C years.
And I think that's human nature, what I mean? And to be honest, it probably is not easy by having so many yes people around you, people that are, all they do is boost your ego.
Yeah.
But everybody is still human. It's sometimes interesting. You might be walking through the middle of the Queen Street and there are some singers out there, they have better voice than, I don't know, Beyonce or anybody, but they're probably never going to make it. There are people that are so good, but either they don't try or they don't get lucky or whatever it is, so they don't put themselves out there. But there are people that are such a freaking talent don't use it. Don't use it, and I see that even at work. I was like, some people, like I remember, still employed, I won't mention his name, the most talented guy I've ever met. He's so lovable. I always say to him, buddy, you can sleep with anybody's wife and the husband will say, thank you. Thank you, you did a good job, buddy. Come back again. He's so fucking lovable.
How does he take that? Does he just go, okay, all right.
I said, but you touch my wife, I'll break your legs.
Don't try that. Yeah.
Don't try. But, he's so lovable, so natural, lazy. So you can't, you need.
But does he want it? He probably doesn't.
No, he doesn't want it, but I'm frustrated.
I know.
I'm frustrated, like, you're so good. Just push a little bit. He said, why, Emil? I'm happy.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, I'm unhappy for you because you're so good. You can be something amazing.
Because we can't understand that people don't want to push themselves. But some people in life just want to float.
Why? I said, but you just got a natural ability and natural talent. You can be greatest ever, But, why? I guess we see things from different perspectives.
100%. Jason Derulo, who we've spoken to, and he puts out his own music. He's like, it's so different these days. You don't need to wait for record labels. So he's like, you put out your own music. Like if you're, whatever you are, and this is what he says, he's really big on socials and I'm not actually, but he's like, whatever you are, you should be putting out that content daily, twice daily.
Yes.
So if you're a real estate agent, you should be putting out that twice daily. If you're a singer, you should be putting out that twice daily. He's like, there is ways that you can sort of connect now that you never could. But I'll go back and I'll go, I think some people generally have the talent but don't want to put themselves out there.
Yes.
They're like, I'm happy with this, or maybe they do whinge about not making it, but they don't like that aspect of putting themselves out there.
Yes. Do you think at this age, people are lazier than what they used to be 25 years ago. I won't say lazier. I feel like when I was, 18, I knew for me to get anywhere, I have to work hard. It's going to take time. I feel like a lot of generations, they want to have everything today.
So I've been in trouble at work before by the boss. And what I got in trouble for is you can't put your work ethic onto other people. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm so sorry. Am I getting in trouble for wanting to work too hard? He's like, no, don't take it like that. Don't take it. I'm like, but at the time I'm taking it, right? Because I was really pissed off that we had someone who took a day off to move the house. Because I was like, that's what weekends are for.
Yes.
That's weekends.
Yes.
And they're like, yeah, but you don't understand. Like the dog got really anxiety.
I understand. I have a life too.
It's a dog. Put it outside. And I was really annoyed because it was something important that we needed them there for. But there is a real lifestyle first. There's a real work-life balance.
Yes.
And I do.
And then they binge.
But I go, is it making people more happy? Because I understand work-life balance. And I think there is a difference because.
But what's work-life balance?
I think it's just choosing when you want to work and choosing when you're not.
But you know what? I think the balance is choosing what makes you happy.
Yeah.
So some people balance is work 8 hours, fuck around 16.
Yeah.
But to me, balance is being happy and doing whatever it takes for me to maintain my happiness and people around me.
And 100% those people, like you said, then can't complain that they haven't got a house. Do you know what I mean? Because they would like to play 80% and work 20. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's that whole win.
Which is interesting. Other day, this is my frustrations. I employed a CEO who runs a company, and this specific role he was interviewing is 3 people in a row interviewed. They only want to work 3 days a week. And I asked them, maybe they have kids and I can be understanding. I said, how old are they? He said, 22. I said, husband, wife, kids? He said, no. It's like, well, what the fuck are they going to do for the rest? He said, they want to have a life. I was like, I must be fucking living on the trees. You know, maybe I lost touch with reality today.
I think you look at what people were. So the GP that I go to, because I just love having a chat. So I was speaking to him about his life. The poor people behind us are like, freaking hell, man. So I was talking to him and his child has got into medicine.
Can I just interrupt you for a second? Something came to my mind, so hold your thought.
Yeah.
Every time I go to church, because I'm Catholic and once a year I confess.
Yeah.
People go there for 2 minutes. I'm there for fucking 1 hour and a half.
Do you tell them? I'm so sorry, this is a long appointment. So if you want to walk through something.
I am just having a chat with the priest about life and shit. Yeah. And when I'm walking out, people think, this guy fucked up.
How many Hail Marys does he have
this guy fucked up. I was like, no, man, I was there for 1 minute doing what I had to do, but the rest we just had a chat. Sorry.
Producer always says that. I'm like, have I got time to go to the bathroom? She's like, you had, but you can't, like, honestly, no chatting, no talking. And I'm like, okay, and then I come back late. Well, he was saying that his child got into medicine. I was like, oh my God, that's really great. And he goes, yeah, but he doesn't want to do what I've done. I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, he sees that I've done long hours, so he doesn't want to do what I've done. So he wants to just work as a dermatologist a couple of days a week to get as much money, so he doesn't do what I do. Yes. And I was like, so I said, is this a thing? He goes, yeah, all the doctors are generally going into, I guess, the easier option or the option that has that work-life balance.
Yes.
And I remember when I was at school, I don't even think Dad knew what school we went to because he was never at school because Mum would do the pickups and he was always working.
Yes.
At school pickup now, I can tell you, it's actually even. And don't know if people are happier for it. I don't know. Yes. But I think it is nice having the dads present when never it was before. And I guess that's that flexibility. But I tell you what, everyone's stressed. It's funny hearing one of the dads going, I'll tell you what, and then to get here in time, I was like, oh, welcome to the club, mate.
That's life.
Yeah.
That's life.
So whether he wants to, but I think it's you look at the generation before and you go, geez, all they did was work. Yes. And they had those 2 days off and, they paid off their house and, that was it when they retired. So they think they don't want that. They think, oh, I want to live now. I want to enjoy it now. I want to go on the holiday. I want to go and do it all. So I think it is, whether it's laziness or whether it is just not wanting to be the older generation.
And there's no right or wrong.
No.
The right thing is to do what makes you happy, right?
I mean, generally you and I are right, but other people,
But I always say, if you choose to work 2 days a week, don't binge when you can't fucking afford a cup of coffee in your local coffee shop with avocado toast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I always say, we are in control of everything that we do, and there's a price to pay for everything, right?
But that gets down to goals and people knowing what they want. Because I don't think anyone actually goes, what's my overall picture that I want? They don't. So if you kind of go, if I had an outcome there, and what I wanted to achieve.
It's so simple. It's just, you can map up your life and where you want to go and then start drafting the way how you're going to get there.
There's a guy at work where he wants to get a house for the first time. And I was like, that's great. And I'm always obsessed with real estate. Yes. So he's coming to talk to me about it. And him and his partner just haven't saved. They just don't save. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Because for me and my partner, we don't go out for coffees and stuff like that because we enjoy real estate.
Yes.
And he was saying, for the first time now, they've changed their spending because they have that goal. And he goes, isn't that silly where we didn't do anything bit different or didn't want to save or didn't want to change our aspect because we didn't have a goal? And he goes, I'm actually excited now.
Yes. And it's got something to look forward to, setting up the goals that you want to achieve.
But it's just that slight different change in thinking.
And I always say for anybody young, if people have a work ethic and if they're a little bit savage, they can go far. Because I think I'll take that back. A lot of young generations, they are soft in a way because they don't know what the pain is. They chase things that are meaningless. They're all after money. It's like when I'm driving my, Lamborghini and the kid says, sir, what do you do for a living? I was like, who gives a fuck what I do for a living? You need to find what you're going to do for a living and become so good at. And chase that. Because if I tell you what I do for a living, that doesn't mean that you're going to be happy doing what I'm doing because that's what I wanted to do.
Do you think you could teach someone to be an entrepreneur, or is that the aspect that you just have to be born with? And I only say that because that's another level. Because working hard for a job and having someone else make the rules is different from that fear of an entrepreneur. That's different thinking.
Well, the way I see it, there's two ways of looking at it. How old is your youngest son?
The youngest is 6. It's the middle one that would be an entrepreneur. You can already see it.
How did he learn how to swim?
By going to lessons.
And you took him there, or you?
Yeah, I took him there. But he's a good swimmer because he'll go in the backyard.
But you were there, blah, blah. And so you gave him that safety net.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs, you throw them in. Baby 2 years old, chuck him in the pool, and you think he's going to drown or he's going to try to swim.
Yeah.
So that's how you throw entrepreneurs. You throw them into the fucking water. One thing is, we employ over 400 people now, Giselle and I. And when I want to create something out of somebody, I look for people that have terrible past, come from broken marriages. That I look for people that have that chip on their shoulder, that have that burn, but they have that burning fucking fire to conquer the world. And it's, the thing is, for people that can help to shift them in the right direction, I think a lot of those amazing young people can become extraordinary. Even all this crime that's happening now, kids that are 15, 16, 17 years old. I mean, Giselle and I, our home was broken into 3 years ago. Literally here, not this home that we had before in this block of land. And Giselle walked into the house. There are 3 guys inside the house.
Freaky,
No shit, right? But was like those little kids, the troubled ones, man, those kids got no fucking fear, right? They got no fear, right? Because I'll be shitting myself to break into your fucking house. Like, your dog can attack my ass, your husband can hit me with a baseball bat. So those little fuckers, they got no fear.
Yeah.
So 2 things. Do you chuck them into the jail for 5-10 years? Naturally, if your home was broken into, or my home, like, you need to go to jail 20 fucking years minimum. Or those people that already have no fear, how can you create something that you can turn them into something amazing?
They just need hope. They
need a hope. Or look, I'm not a psychologist. I don't know. But in my way, I was like, who can become that next Elon Musk of Australia or whatever it is? I think a lot of those people that maybe have those broken, lives, I think a lot of them have a heart to do it, but you just got to shift it in the right direction instead of becoming a career criminal.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Or whatever. Anyway, that's just...
You going into politics next?
Fuck no. me, politics, like, first for good day.
Could you imagine if they're like, excuse me, he's swearing again. Sorry, Mr. Speaker.
Mine would be, 6 o'clock morning news. Good fucking morning, beautiful people. How are you fucking going today? I think I would be sacked before I became Prime Minister. No, politics, that definitely doesn't interest me. What interests me is if I can do my part to change somebody else's life for better tomorrow, in my mind, I'm bigger than president of USA, because I'm doing the right thing. And I always say, we all can do so much to make such a big difference in other people's life by saying something, nice to people or pointing them in the right direction. Or, in my position, I constantly donate and raise a lot of money. We just raised $120,000 for Starlight Children's Foundation, second year in a row. I'm not saying donate money to that charity, whatever, but we can all do a lot to make difference in other people's lives. And if we all just try a little bit to do that, this world won't need prime ministers or presidents, because we're all going to be living in an amazing place. But we all have to do our part and not be selfish and think this world just revolves around Abby or Emil.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so much more to the world. And people underestimate satisfaction they're going to get by doing something amazing for others. Fuck. It's priceless. People don't understand the joy they will actually get. And they said, what do you mean? Well, go and try to do something amazing for somebody and see how you feel.
We got someone who listens to the show who said, do you mind sharing a GoFundMe? And I was like, I'm not really into sharing the GoFundMes on my socials because I'm not very good at it. I was like, but what's the story and what do they need? Unfortunately, it's a young mum who has terminal brain cancer, but they've spent this money on this drug trial to extend their life. And that was the money that they had to renovate the house. And I was like, let's renovate the house. So the boys and I, over the next couple of weeks, are going to go and renovate the house for her. And I was like, the stuff like that where you
is that happening right now?
Where you start this weekend. But when you kind of go this...
And how much did it raise?
The GoFundMe separate, we're actually doing all the renovations. So we've got all the trades together, because not just is it hard to, I guess, get everyone to come together, but yourself, like renovations take a long time. So we're like, we're going to send them away for 2 weeks. And
how much money are you trying to raise to finish the reno?
Well, we're just getting everyone together. So you want a tool belt? You want to come and help?
Yeah, well, can I donate money?
You can donate money if you want. I'm not bringing it up for that reason, I promise.
No, but I like that.
But you just go, that's my favourite aspect of working on the radio, is that we've always been able to do give backs. Yes. And I'm like, I want to be able to do that, because once I'm on the radio, I don't have that platform. But the amazing ability, there was a lady today and she called up and she donated, 20 grand just hearing the story. And I was like, we've just got those amazing people that are listening to the show that have their different experiences that just want to help out others. And when you there's so much crap in the world, I get it, yes. But that's just in 30 seconds, someone just calling up and saying, this is how much money I want to be able to give them. And
so what's their story?
Yeah, unfortunately, I get all teary talking about it, because I really just go, there are so many beautiful people that unfortunately have the most terrible circumstances. So the mum, Julie, listens to us, and her daughter at the age of 21 got diagnosed with a brain tumour a couple of weeks before she got married. She had a seizure and had to have an operation, and been clear for so long. She's got 2 kids, an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old. And unfortunately, last year the cancer came back. So they've been approved for a drug trial, but the gap in that is $28,000. So that was the money that they had to renovate the house. So we have let them, I guess, spend that. They have raised a lot on the GoFund since we shared it, but we're going to go in and renovate the house because she just wants it to be done. I guess in her mind, she's leaving. She's leaving the family behind. And your
husband is in trade as well.
Yeah, but I want it finished, so that's why I'm not going to get him to do it. No. Well, you know when like a builder's wife is the house that's constantly not done?
Well, you tell me, I'm not saying this because of my podcast, but you tell me where I can I'll donate $10,000. So
you don't
tell
need
me,
to do that.
I don't have to do anything. You don't have to be here either today. You chose to.
It's very kind of you.
And also,
you made me get all teary.
Don't get teary. I'll donate $10,000, but also if you need any trades, my brother is a builder and we got every trade. So I can send so many of my trades.
Thank you. That means a lot.
But tell me where to pay money today, and I'll send $10,000 on behalf of Giselle and myself. But I can definitely get a lot of trades. I love doing this.
Yeah.
So to me, I just made $1 million, billion.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I guess it's just that I think something that I've always enjoyed is being able to bring everyone together. And I guess, you know, I think I always put myself in that situation, you know.
You're blessed that you're in position where you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you can help others, you know. And one of my good friends, you probably heard of Gambaro family.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I'm very close to Donnie and Johnny Gambaro.
He's always the good boy out of those three.
Yes, Donnie's a good boy, and Donnie's wife passed away,
yeah,
Jessica.
She was
amazing,
extraordinary.
I'm very close to Donnie, and we, you know, Giselle and I went to the funeral, and she was only 46 when she passed away from cancer, yeah, it was very, very powerful funeral to see 4 little kids speak about their mom. Oh, if there was a human that didn't cry, I'd be surprised. And that's, you know what? If there's one thing that money is not everything, money can't fix all problems, but there's good thing about making money if you're a good person, not that asshole that we spoke about on the start of this conversation. Money can try to make difference with people if you can help. And so you're a good person for organizing this.
That's extraordinary of you. Thank you.
Pleasure. It's been great talking to you. Now I'm thinking like, you know what? I'm going to use you now to be my celebrant when you're getting married again, Giselle and I. You'll be like, right there with us.
I only came here to ask you to sell my house. I didn't realize you stopped. Shit, I should have asked that the first question. I'm out.
But you know what? I was looking forward to this, and I was telling Scott, our videographer, I was like, I'm really looking forward to talking to Abby. And there's just so much in your head, right? Yeah. So much life experience. There's so many amazing people that you spoke to. And more people we speak to in life, more stories we learn about, richer we are as a humans in our head.
The neuroscientist I was talking about, and I've forgotten his name because obviously not doing the brain activities I promised. But I was like, how can you extend your brain? If he's like saying that people are being diagnosed in, you know, their 30s and 40s now with Alzheimer's that never did. I was like, what should we do? And you know what he said? Talk to people. He's like, that's what boosts your brain capacity. That's what boosts your brain health, is talking to people.
But what did it mean? Talking to people in person, over the phone, or messaging them?
In person, over the phone, not messaging. So he's like an old-fashioned phone call.
Well, then
an old-fashioned catch-up.
That gets me thinking, how the fuck would people have a common sense where entire conversation is happening with people these days over the phone?
Yeah, you don't. So my nana would live to 101. She passed away late last year. And she was the most extraordinary person, never lost her mind. Like, never. Like, her body was shutting down, but her mind was always there. And I used to always say, like, what is it, honestly, if someone had to ask you? She's like, oh, there's no secret to health, you know. And I'm like, no, but what is it? And she's like, I've always been interested in people the same way that you've always been interested. And I was like, she's like, I used to always like hearing people's stories as a little girl. And she always does that as well. Like, she would go into the bank and she would ask some questions, or she just loved it when, you know, she had people come into the house, you know, to help her out, and she would be able to tell you stories. So like, if I spoke to her, she'd be like, do you know Adelaide came in? So that's one of the ladies that look after her. She's the one where her husband left her for another man.
Was she like this when she was 100 years old?
Yeah.
So she knew everything.
Oh, everything. And she would she's like, you have to be fascinated in the youth. Yes. So unfortunately, it was 6 months after she went into a nursing home, because she lived by herself until then. Yes. So 6 months after she went to a nursing home, she passed away, and she hated old people.
And she was
the oldest.
The oldest.
I was like, oh, she's like,
10 years at least.
Don't say that. But she just didn't like older people because she didn't have that vitality or learning about their stories or, you know, that conversation. So I always go, that's the thing. Where to be able to communicate.
If somebody asks you a question, till what age do you want to live?
I guess until physically. Yes. And mentally, I'm still with it. I mean, at that point, you don't really know, do you? You know, yes. But I kind of go to still get enjoyment out of life.
Knowing life.
Yeah. And I guess not be a burden for other people around me is what I really would never like to be.
Look, the reality is you're going to be annoying as fuck the second you pass 80.
Well, no, even beyond. I say to my kids, I'm like, I'm going to haunt you.
Oh my God, she's so fucking annoying. But then other one would be like, she's been annoying all our lives, so we're used to it.
Yeah, she hasn't changed. It's very true.
I think more than ever now, how we live our lives today can impact our future. Like I'm so cautious what I eat these days, and I'm so cautious. Giselle and I, we got a personal trainer 5 days a week. And I feel like at age 45, almost 46 next month, I feel better than ever before in my life.
Yeah, your body's designed to move.
Yeah, but we can also neglect it.
Yeah. I think that's probably the age I want. Well, I've still got that quality of life.
Yes, Abby. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
You're freaking awesome.
Do I get a house tour? Because that's the other reason I came here.
You can do whatever you want. Done. One thing on the start of this conversation, we talk about Sex in the City.
Yeah.
I believe that my wife has a better wardrobe than any of those ladies on any of the shows.
So I'm going to walk in there and go, I live here.
And she would say, get the fuck out.
Yeah. She comes home, I'm trying on her clothes. Giselle, I've always loved you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.